In this video, we're going to be adding headers and footers, and this is going to be on pages Word 88 and 89. On page Word 88, at the top of the page, it reads on here that a header is text or graphics that appears at the top of every page of a document. A footer is text or graphics that appears at the bottom of every page. In longer documents, headers and footers often contain information such as the title of the publication, the title of the chapter, the name of the author, the date, or page number. You can add headers or footers to a document by double-clicking the top or bottom margin of a document to open the header and footers area. And then you can insert text and graphics into these. You can also use the header or footer command on the Insert tab to insert pre-designed headers and footers that you can modify to include your own information. So let's take a look now at step 1 on page 88, and that tells us that we're going to click on the Insert tab. If it's not already selected, just make sure your Insert tab is selected. And on this one here, we're going to go to our header and footer group again, and we're going to click on Header. And of course now you'll notice that a gallery of built-in headers is now open. Now, unless you set different headers and footers for different sections, the information you insert in any header or footer is going to appear on every page of the document. And it's going to be the same unless there's a field such as page numbers that will change for every page. Step 2 tells us that we're going to scroll down the gallery to view the header designs. So we take a look here and we can see that there's a blank 3-column, alphabet, and there's a lot of different options. Once again, you'll have to take a look at these and choose the options that's going to best fit your needs. But we're going to make sure that we go back up to the top of the document and we're going to click on blank. And of course the header and footer area, which is what we were just looking at, opens and the document text is dimmed on there. When the document text is dimmed, it cannot be edited. The Header and Footer Tools Design tab also opens and is the active tab. And you can take a look at this here, that we have this little green tab that's here that's not normally there, and that opens up when we're in our header or footer on there. And this tab is available whenever the header and footer area is open. The header and footer area of a document are independent of the document itself and must be formatted separately. And for an example, if you select all the text in the document and change the font, the header and footer font will not change. So you have to treat these sections as two completely different areas of the same document. Step 3 tells us that in this here, where it has us to type text should be selected, we're going to go ahead and type in footprints. And we just completed in and filled in the content control in that header area. After we type in footprints, we're going to press our space bar twice, and then we're going to click the date and time button in the insert group. So here's our insert group here, and we see date and time. And when we click on that, the date and time dialog box will open up. And you're going to be using this dialog box to select the format for the date or time and to indicate whether you want the date or time inserted in the document as a field that is updated automatically, or you can have it as static text, which means it won't change. And Word is going to use the clock on your computer to determine the date and the time. So it's going to use this information that's down here on the lower right hand side as the date and time. Next, we're going to be taking a look at page 4, or not page 4, but step 4. And it tells us that we're going to make sure that the Update Automatically checkbox is selected. So whenever you open up the document, it's going to see what time it is and what date it is, and it will update it automatically. We're going to keep this format right here, where it's going to have the default month, date, and year format, which is the month, the day, and then the 4-digit year. When we click on OK, notice that there's our date, and we can't really select an individual area because this is in a content control on there as well. Now you can change the date format by right-clicking the field. So if we want to change the format on here, we can just right-click this field on there, and we can go to Edit Field on the shortcut menu, and then we can choose a new format on there. But we want to keep this current format. On step 5, it tells us that we're going to select footprints and the date. So we're going to select all this information here. And then we're going to click on the font list arrow that's on there. So if you want to use the mini toolbar, there's our mini toolbar right there. We're going to click on this and we're going to change that from Times New Roman to Forte, F-O-R-T-E, on there. And more than likely that's going to be one of the most recently used fonts. If not, remember that this is alphabetical. You can just scroll down until you find it. But there's the Forte right there. So we click on that and that changes the font. And we're also going to click on the center button. So we're going to center this information there as well. Now once we have those completed, we're going to click somewhere else in the header section to deselect the text. Now the text is formatted in Forte and centered in the header text. In addition to the alignments button, you can use the Insert Alignment tab in the position group on the Header and Footer Tools Design tab to left, center, and right align text in the header and footer areas with the document margins. On step 6, it tells us that we are going to click the Go to Footer button in the navigation group. So here we are in navigation. We're still in the Header and Footer Tools Design tab. And in our navigation, notice that the Go to Header is not selected, but the Go to Footer, we can select it because we're already in the header. So we're going to click on this Go to Footer, and now notice it takes us to the bottom of page 1 on there. And that insertion point moves to the footer area, where a page number field is centered in the footer area. You can use the buttons in the navigation group to quickly move between the header and footer areas. And you can use the buttons in the navigation group to move quickly between the header and footer areas on the current page or to a header or footer in the previous or next section of the document. Step 7 tells us that we are going to verify that the insertion point is before the page number field. So it should be blinking, your insertion point blinking right before the 1. And then if it is, then we need to type in page and press our space bar. So now it tells us page 1. Then we're going to select the text and the field in the footer. So we're going to select all of page 1 right here. And then we want to use our mini toolbars. So we'll get that here, and here's our mini toolbar. And we want to make this Forte as well. Once we have that selected, we're going to click on somewhere in the footer area just to deselect the text. And now the footer text is also formatted in Forte just like the header. Step 8 tells us that we're going to click on the Close Header and Footer button in the Close group. It's the only button in the Close group there. On there. Then we're going to save our document and scroll down until the bottom of page 1 and the top of page 2 appears. So we see that there's our footer and there's our header that's on there. Of course, to change the distance between the header and footer and the edge of the page, you need to change the header from top and footer from bottom settings in the position group on the Header and Footer Design tab. And that completes the video about adding headers and footers. And our next one, we're going to be working with editing headers and footers. So you're now ready to move on to the next video.